Pratana Samaj, ideas of Satya Shodak Samaj, Aligarh movement, Ramakrishna movement ideology, Theosophical Society, Narayana Guru, Dharma Paripala Yogam, and about Periyar. Okay. Now come to the introduction part of it. So I told you about social religious reform movement. So what exactly happened in a society? Okay. Social reform is an attempt to reform a society that practices discrimination among its members. Okay. So reformation means what? It strives to bring back such a society into the fold of human values. The basic aim of a reformation was what? To declare the value of individual self-respect. You know, during the early part of your 16th or 18th century, there was a lot of problems in a society. Okay, so many problems. As we keep on going to the chapter, we'll be knowing about the problems that were there in the society. But before that, let me tell you what exactly a society was there during that period then. The 19th century is considered as a reformation of new awakening time in the history of India. Okay, children. The implementation of what happened. So there are many things that brought about the changes in the religious reformation movement. So let me start off with one thing. That was what? The English education. Okay. Then the new class educated Indians were created. Then many European concepts like democracy, nationalism, equality started finding roots in India. Many Indians who received English education started analyzing their own society because English plays a very vital role here. It was a link language. So what happened? People, our Indian leaders started reading about the English writers' work there. Okay, and finally they had some interest. So why can't we try to change our society? Was their idea there. So the British too expressed their interest in reforming the society, but they put in another word. Okay, they called it as a white man's burden. So what is this white man burden means? They believe that it was their duty to civilize Indian as a civilized class of people. The British made an attempt to protect the political and economic interests under the guise of this theory called as white man's theory. But many Indians started understanding the Indian tradition in a new perspective. Okay, and a new identity called Indian was born. All these were the reasons for what the starting or the awakening of a new movement or a reformation then. Now what happened further? Many communities like Shudras, the neglected caste there, and other neglected communities and women lacked many rights. This was the situation of a society in those days. So many movements opposed this. Now what happened here now later on? Okay, unlike movements in the Middle Age and ancient times, the movements during British period were different. So what I told you, the problems were there. So you'll be knowing about this problem there. But there was some religious leaders like Rajaram Mohan Roy, Dayananda Saraswati, Ranade, Jyotiba Phule, Swami Vivekananda. Okay, all had become a part of this movement. So now we'll come back to the next slide. So we'll see what exactly we were facing here. So what happened here, children? The problem that existed in our society during the century, that's the 19th century India, were caste system. You know about the caste system. We had this what is it? The Brahmana, the Brahmin, the Vaishya, the Shudras, okay, Kshatriyas. We had a caste system being divided, and Shudras were, you know, the utmost being made to struggle in a society. Sati system, you know. Okay, when your husband dies, the lady has to sit on the fire and she was burnt alive. Gender discrimination, the discrimination of female and the male. So we had a polygamy kind of a society. So what happened actually? The women were not given such status there. Widowhood, I think it was the worst part that women faced there. Tonsuring her hairs there when her husband died, not giving her proper food, give her a white sari to wear there. You know, it was a very pitiable sight for the women. And denial of education to Shudras. Not only education, many things were the fundamental human rights were denied to the Shudras there. Now, these are all the things that made our 19th century see some changes there. And English education and many thoughts changed the mind of the religious and the social reformers there. Okay, now we'll see it will go a little further. So the religious reformers and the social reformers who transformed the society. So first let us take about your Rajaram Mohan Roy. When you say about Rajaram Roy, he is called the chief initiator. Okay, he is called as the father of Indian Renaissance. Okay, and he was called as Raja. Okay, by the Mughal ruler Akbar the second, not Akbar the Akbar the second. Okay, and when no, it's a great tribute to India there to find such great personalities who want to change the entire society from an orthodox, narrow-minded to a little broad-minded then. So let's see about the Rajaram Mohan Roy. Okay, I told you he was called as a chief initiator or the father of Indian Renaissance movement. He had deep knowledge in Sanskrit, Persian and Arabic literature. He was well versed in all the literature. Okay, he was born on May 22nd, 1772. Okay, now here what happened there? He was well versed in Hindu philosophical critic and Quran. So he never learnt only his own subject Hinduism. There he learnt even about the Quran because all the religious books has all good things that's very much required for a society. Okay. Now what happened? Apart from this, he had also studied other religions found in India critically, very systematically studied about all other things. He had even learnt Hebrew and Greek to read Bible in its original form. Such was his craving for knowledge. Now what happened? He started Atmiya Sabha in Calcutta. Okay, along with some of his friends. The Sabha aimed at eradicating what? Social religious maladies. Maladies means the social evils that were there in the society of Bengal. He started Brahma Samaj in 1828. He wanted to purge Hinduism by removing caste system and superstition. I've told you there's a major problem that were there in the Indian society, and he wanted to rebuild the Hindu society based on the philosophical foundations of Upanishads. And what happened? Due to his efforts, the then Governor General William Bentinck brought about a law. What is a law? Okay, they together joined and abolished the sati in 1829. Okay, the greatest contribution by Rajaram Mohan Roy. He joined hands with whom? William Bentinck. Now, this was the thing that he did it, and further he tried to develop rationality among the common people through journalism. Okay, there was something called self-introspection. No, the things he started doing, the things he started telling there, made people realize that they started asking questions for themselves there. Okay, like why this is happening, and many started going against the social evils also to some extent. Now, he published a journal called as Samvada Kaumadi in Bengali language. These are the things about, many things are there, but these are the condensed things about Rajaram Mohan Roy, the father of Indian Renaissance. Now, going further, so what did the Brahma Samaj do, which was started in 1828? They advocated monotheism, okay, opposed meaningless rituals. Every person should live with dignity and no law or ritual should violate this provision. Now, this Samaj intended to assure equality to women by opposing polygamy. You know what is polygamy? Having more than one wife. Advocated for a share of property to honor dignity of life of a widow there. Okay, he also opposed what? Child marriage. Now, Samaj further declared that one can take good things from anywhere. It is also declared that Upanishads and Vedas, you know what's the meaning of Vedas, our ancient knowledge that we had there, also advocated these principles. He was open to receive good thoughts even from the West. He gave importance to English education. No. So these are all the things that he did as a part of a member or the founder of the Samaj called as a Brahma Samaj. Apart from this, Rajaram Mohan Roy wanted the Indians to welcome the thinking process of the Europeans. Okay, they were they dominated us, they colonized us, everything, but they were far better in their living than Indians. Okay, now what happened? In this background, he supported the establishment of many schools and Vedanta College in Calcutta. Even Rabindranath Tagore has called Rajaram Mohan Roy as harbinger of modern India. Okay, and what happened? He was also even called as the title as what? The prophet of Indian nationalism. By saying this words, Tagore has summarized the contribution of Rajaram Mohan Roy and Brahma Samaj a lot to Indian social reformation, because we call him as father of Indian Renaissance means what? The rebirth, the revival in the field of knowledge and thinking. So credit goes to Rajaram Mohan Roy and this Brahma Samaj to initiate a complete reformation in Indian society. Okay, now let's go a little further. Now there are two pictures on your screen. One is Henry Louis Vivian Derozio and one was Mahatma Jyotibai Phule. Now here come back to Henry Louis Vivian Derozio. Now when we speak about this person, he was a very radical thinker. Okay, the wave of modernization was started across North India during this 19th century by Henry Louis Vivian Derozio. Calcutta was the center of this new thinking. So new movements started arising during 1820s and 1830s. Okay, now what happened? Already you have learned about Brahma Samaj. But during this period, what happened? Another movement also started by Henry Louis Vivian Derozio called as a Young Bengal movement. Now what happened? This movement was started by Henry Louis Vivian Derozio. Okay, it had a lot of youth in his team members. Okay, telling a little further about this great personality who motivated the youths there. Okay, Henry Louis Vivian Derozio, okay, was an Indian poet of Portuguese origin. He was born on 18th April in Kolkata in 1809. His father was a Portuguese and his mother was an Indian. So Derozio is called as an Anglo-Indian. Now, Derozio served as a professor of Hindu College of Calcutta from 1826 to 1831. Why? Because he was the one who wanted to bring out lot of reformations in your Hinduism then. Many of his students were attracted to his teaching, became his committed followers. He gave lot of importance to what? The new, words called as a democracy, okay, liberty, equality, for all these words there. Now, Derozio was influenced by the various movements of Europe and tried to instill the same spirit of what I've just now told you, the free inquiry. give them the free thoughts to express their ideas there in the minds of students and okay the colleges or the colleagues. Now what happened later on? He also worked towards a creating textbook to inculcate new education system. Imagine these all of the people were during your early part of the 19th and middle part of 19th century. It was very difficult to reform a society. In spite of that, they were trying their level best to or do some renaissance in our society then. So what happened here there? This angered many traditionalists. They know they never wanted this broad-mindedness or new thinking into a society then. But still, he went ahead and started what? Academic Association 1828. And he created a free thinking debate association which created new thinking across the Bengal. This great personality, Henry Louis Gassee, he just lived for 22 years, but the thing he has left behind has created a lot of impact in Calcutta. This young Bengal movement held discussion debates on issues like nature, humanism, God, and other various topics. He worked towards spreading the message that only rational thinking could liberate for the thinkings of a narrow-minded Indians in those times there. Now what happened? He was an advocate of women's rights and opposed caste-based discrimination. Many of his students who had come from traditional families were deeply influenced by his thoughts and joined the hands in spreading the movement across Bengal. The influence of this movement was limited to Calcutta and only to a few places in Bengal. Maybe if I lead for some more years, it would have spread the entire thing to India there. Now, Desoya had to resign from his teaching post due to pressure from his colleagues and his opponents. I told you there were many traditionalists. They never liked the ideas of what Henry Louis Vivian Derozio. So what happened? These people fear that the youth are getting morally corrupted by the work of Derozio. But whatever he had done had created a lot of impact in the regions of Bengal. The next person we are going to speak about is a Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. Now when I speak about this Mahatma, the word itself says Mahatma. Okay. Now what happened here, children? A slight difference. Everyone used to fight against general social levers like caste, okay, then polygamy, okay, gender discrimination, all those things. But here was a person, the great Mahatma, started something differently. He worked for the sake of the laborers there. He started a union there. Then he started a first girls' school there. Not only he, even his wife also, Savitribai Phule, also contributed to reforming our society. When you say about all these things, okay, the situation at that time was what, and no, a lot of problems were there, like caste, gender discrimination, Maharashtra, just like in other parts of India. During the colonial rule of the British, what happened? Many movements were started to address the social problems. In that, Satya Shodhak Samaj, started in 1873 by Mahatma Jyotiba Phule, was one of it. Okay, it was there to provide equal rights to non-Brahmin class and women. Now, what did this Samaj aim at? Okay, the Samaj, aimed at toward opening schools for the Shudras and girls. Okay, and Phule also, what happened? He started building a philosophical base for the movement, and he wrote books called as Gulamagiri and Sheta Karyacha Asud. That is cultivators with God meaning. Okay, now Phule belonged to Mali caste and allowed people from all castes, including untouchables, to draw water from his well. So look at those days, untouchables are not allowed to draw water from the well where the Brahmins were using. But here a Mahatma was not like that. Jyotiba Phule, he allowed there the people to come and draw the water from the the well, whatever they had in their house. They established a hostel for girls. And the work of Phule is important in the direction of established society based on equality. I told you that he was working for the sake of the farmers in Maharashtra and even for the workers. And the person was very much influenced by was none other than Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So it is not in the contribution of Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. I have told you his wife Savitribai Phule also played a very important role. She was also regarded as the first female teacher and mother of Indian feminism. So both of them played a very important role in reforming our Indian society. Now let's go back to one more reformer. It's about a Dayananda Saraswati. When you say about Dayananda Saraswati, there's a lot to talk about Dayananda Saraswati then. Okay, he was, when it's go before that, he started a Samaj called as a Arya Samaj in 1875. Okay, in Mumbai. And it was the more powerful during the last 2 decades of the 19th century. Okay, and why? Because this Samaj even participated, encouraged youths there to participate in the Indian freedom struggle also. Now, speaking about Dayananda Saraswati, he was born on 12th February 1824 in Kataiwar of Gujarat. His name was Mula Shankara. Okay, based on the star Mula Nakshatra, he was called as a Mula Shankara. And his father was Amba Shankar Tiwari and mother was Amrita Bai. Since he never had interest in English education, he received Sanskrit education. He left his house by the age of 21 years, okay, because he found so many things in front of him. The married life and all this were not a comfortable thing for him. He said he's not ready for all those things, and he started becoming a sannyasi at the age of 21 years and roamed across the country for over 15 years. In that, he outlined his ideas in all this in a book titled called as Satyartha Prakasha. He realized that the remedies for the various maladies, the social evils of India, are present in the Vedas. So, and then Saraswati gave a lot of importance to Vedas. At this time, what was happening? Some of the missionaries were converting Hindus into Christianity, and then Saraswati was just against that. So what happened? He declared everyone to come back to your Vedas. There's so much things in the Vedas. Its simplicity is there. It's not like as narrow-minded as people are following in those days there. So he said he called all the people, okay, just turn back and come start learning about your Vedas, know about Vedas. And what happened? He started something called as a Shuddhi movement. Okay, and when you say Shuddhi movement, it's a movement I have to tell you about this here is what happened. The existence of caste and superstition had pushed people towards other religion, mostly your Christianity. In this critical juncture, Dayananda Saraswati reinterpreted Vedas and advocated that what gender equality and caste equality in order to integrate our Hindu society. So what happened? First and foremost, he wanted the people who convert to your other religion back to his own religion, your Hinduism. So already start there. He asked the people to come back from the other religion and start a movement called as a Shuddhi movement, or even called as a purification movement. Now what happened? This is one of the major programs of Aryas. I mean, the Samaj also started encouraging all those things. But before going to that, let us tell some more things about our Dayananda Saraswati. Okay, he declared back to Vedas. He was more of a Renaissance person than a Reformation person. He opened the head office of Arya Samaj at Lahore in 1877. He declared that Vedas are authentic and advocated doctrine of karma and reincarnation. So he gave lot of importance to your Hinduism and the Vedas. Now Samaj, what he started in 1875 in Bombay is what we are going to speak now. What are the aims of this Samaj? I have told you he gave a lot of importance to Hinduism and Vedas. So naturally what happens there? All Hindus should believe in one formless God, is said. No one is a Shudra or a Brahmin by birth, and caste-based system was completely rejected. Encouraged to inter-caste marriage was one more thing. Rejection of polygamy and child marriage. So almost all the social religious leaders tried to do, went against these particular maladies of a society. Men and women are equally said. One should study Vedas and other ancient sacred texts and preach. That's why he said, come back to Vedas then. Okay, so when you say about all these things, I told you about Shuddhi movement also. And here what happened, apart from all these things, the Arya Samaj aimed at reconversion of people who had converted to Islam and Christianity. I have told you that from Hinduism back to Hinduism. Now what from Hinduism back to, yeah, they were from Hinduism. They converted themselves to Islam or Christianity. Again, Dayananda Saraswati motivated them to come back to your Hindu fold there. Or it is a movement called Shuddhi movement or a purification movement. Now what happened? One more movement he started was a cow protection associations to protect the cows. This is one more thing Dayananda Saraswati did it. Now what happened? With this Arya Samaj, okay, around 5 lakh members were joined by 1921. After the death of Dayananda Saraswati, the Dayananda Anglo-Vedic College was started in 1886. Okay, now Gurukula Vidyalaya also was started in Haridwara, and Lala Lajpat Rai, the radical leader of Indian freedom movement, was influenced by the principles of Arya Samaj. Okay, and this great leader passed away on 30th October 1883. So these are the details of Dayananda Saraswati there. Now we'll go to Atmaram Panduranga. Now when you say about Atmaram Panduranga, okay, now he was the founder of Pratana Samaj. Okay, and they were influenced by your Brahma Samaj there. And what happened? The Samaj started by your Atmaram Panduranga, okay, had took up various Reformation movements which was influenced by Brahma Samaj, I told you. And this movement became influential in the Western India, particularly in the areas of Bombay Presidency. So those days you had 3 very important presidencies, the Bombay, Calcutta and the Madras. So Atmaram Panduranga had a great influence in the Bombay presidencies then. The Pratana Samaj was founded by Atmaram Panduranga in 1867 at Bombay. Okay, with the aim of what? Aim of finding solutions to various problems faced by women and lower caste groups. Now this association argued that reinterpretation of Hinduism is needed in the light of modern Western thinking. He said first the Hindus have to rethink how they have to fight there, how they have to reform your society. That is very much essential there. It advocated reformation should not be a wish, but should be implemented in reality. Not just saying that I want to do this, I wish to be like this. No, it should be put into practical then. So many program as usual, like others, what they had done. So education for women was stressed, rehabilitation of poor people were undertaken by Pratana Samaj. Now what happened? The most important leader of the Samaj was Justice Mahadeva Govinda Ranade, R.J. Bandarkar and N.G. Chandravarkar were the most important leaders. Now the scope of Pratana Samaj got extended to various areas under the leadership of Justice Ranade. Okay, and Madhav Govinda Ranade has a great role to play. He was the first person to start your girls' high school also there. Okay, Ranade attempted to reject child marriage and discrimination of widows. He believed that legal intervention is needed to stop child marriage and encourage widow remarriage. So just telling in words is of no use. Okay, you have to put up some legal or the law to change all these things in our society, because he was justice there. You can find out what it is. Hence he advocated taking the help of the British government. So these are all the contribution of your Pratana Samaj started by Atmaram Panduranga there. Okay, now when we come to Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, and when we speak of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, it's not only the Hinduism which was undergoing your reformation, it was even the Muslims also were undergoing lot of reformations there. And who was a pioneer in doing all this reformation? It was Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Now let's speak about Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, who started Aligarh Reformation movement. Okay, now by the end of 19th century, what happened? A new wave of social and religious reformation was set in Muslim society. Now what happened? Anti-British sentiment became very strong in Muslim community after the incident of 1857. You know what happened in 1857? It is the first war of Indian independence as Sepoy mutiny took place. As a result, what happened? So many stayed away from the English education, and as a result missed many opportunities that were based on English education. So I've told you English education, English language, it's because it's a link language. So it was very beneficial to bring up a particular group of people in society where they could understand what the problem India is facing there. So this period, what happened? Right period. So Syed Ahmad Khan attempted to start a new movement, the Mohammedan Literary Society, and it was established in 1863. Okay, what happened? Started debates and discussion on the issues related to religion, social and political issues. Now, upon the middle class youth participated in all this discussion and started realizing the value of English education. I've told you, no doubt the Britishers have done many harm to us, but implementing English education was one positive thing for the Britishers then. Let us speak about Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Okay, he lived from 1870 to 1898. He declared that Quran is an authoritative book and other works on Islam are derived ones. So basically for all the other Islamic work, Quran is the main thing. The Quran is a holy book of the Islam people. You know that. He said one has to interpret one's religion according to changing times. Otherwise, religion becomes sluggish. It becomes very dull. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan fought against traditions, superstitions, ignorance and irrationalities throughout his life. That's the reason he said, start learning your English. You will be knowing about what is happening in other parts of the world. Okay, try to westernize yourself. Have a little broad-minded thinking. So what is the other thing he said? Be open-minded. And yes, any social intellectual development is impossible if you are not open-minded. To access something new, you have to be a little broad, because our Indians are very, very orthodox and very traditional in their character. So to change them, it was a very difficult task. So what happened? But he never, support the parda system for the Muslim women. He called for educating Muslim girls. He did not accept polygamy. All these aspects are part of his struggles. What happened? In order to implement his ideals into practice, he started a Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental college in Aligarh in 1875. Now, what happened? This institution tried to spread the Western scientific and cultural ideas. We want to bring out a fusion between the West and the East. Now, this institution later on became Aligarh Muslim University. Now, Sir Ahmad Khan preached religious tolerance. He tried for unity among Hindus and Muslims. So all religious leaders are just struggling to bring out a unity between Hindus and the Muslims. Hindus, Parsis, Christians donated liberal to this particular establishment of Aligarh College. So admissions were open to all the students from all the religion. So this movement created by Syed Ahmad Khan, keeping Aligarh as a center, is called as Aligarh movement. So this is a contribution of this great leader to our reforming our Indian society. Let's a little go further there. Now, the most important person, a very dynamic person in our society, Swami Vivekananda, the founder of Ramakrishna mission. When we speak about our Swami Vivekananda was called as Narendra, there's lots and lots to say about this great personality. But as it is a presentation, I'm just restricting my knowledge there. But please go to the history of Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Okay, now let us speak first about our leader Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Okay, the spiritual leader who influenced Ramakrishna Paramahamsa a lot. So based on respect to his guru, so Swami Vivekananda started Ramakrishna mission. Okay, and this mission has provided a unique contribution to India's spiritual growth, nationalistic awareness and cultural development. And the founder naturally is Swami Vivekananda. Okay, and this mission was founded Belur near Calcutta in 1897. Okay, and Advaita Ashrama, a branch of Ramakrishna Math, was established Mayavad near Almora of Uttarakhand. And this Advaita Ashrama stressed that the importance of world ultimate reality. Okay, this Ramakrishna mission was founded to carry the message and thoughts of Sri Ramakrishna, the spiritual guru of Swami Vivekananda. Now, when we speak about Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, his duration is from 1836 to 1886. Was a worshipper of Kali and also a priest at Calcutta Kali Mandir. And if you all get a chance to visit your the great place, Swami Vivekananda's, I think everywhere there are ashrama there. But if you go to your place called as Kanyakumari, okay, there you can see that the rock picture where you have the center of there, you can find this Ramakrishna mission started by Swami Vivekananda, a peaceful atmosphere, and Ramakrishna stressed lot on meditation also. We'll come back to that also later on there. Okay, one or just to attain moksha was only to dhyana and bhakti, said Ramakrishna, and his disciple followed that. He believed that all the religions advocate the same. He also believed that there are many ways of attaining moksha and the God. He said idol worship is inevitable. Okay, now what happened there? So these are all the preachings of Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Now what happened? In order to spread the teachings of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Swami Vivekananda has founded this mission. So Vivekananda lived from 1863 to 1902, was born in a Kshatriya family in Calcutta. Okay, he studied both Western and Eastern philosophies. After studying the Indian philosophy from different perspectives, he started preaching the importance of Indian philosophy to Indians as well as the Westerners. He roamed around India for about 5 years after the death of his guru. So who is the guru here? Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Okay, due to this, he could understand the social reality of India. He worked to establish a casteless society. As he could see, the society was deeply involved with caste-based discrimination. This is what all the religious leaders fought there. They never wanted a caste system at all in India which was having a discrimination. He also noticed exploitation, okay, poverty, illiteracy and division among our Indians. So what Vivekananda believed that people should first be educated, okay, and then they themselves can seek reformation. That's a self-introspection can be done by them. He wanted legal institutions to implement appropriate rules to support a reformation. He also wanted people to follow follow all the good things of the Western culture. Okay, and he believed that it's duty of the religion to provide the light. So religion played a very important role here. Without this, religion itself is of no use if it's not guiding the people. Okay, declared Vivekananda. The one who responds to the poor is a Mahatma and the one who doesn't is a Duratma. So what did he say there? The one who responds to the poor is a Mahatma. This is what all the Mahatmas have done there. And the one who doesn't is your Duratma. The good Atma and the bad there. He opposed caste system, untouchability and the idea of supremacy based on caste system. Now Westerners could not understand the cultural richness of India. Okay, they could understand so well, and now also you can see they really appreciate our culture there. With the help of speech delivered by Swami Vivekananda at Chicago City in Parliament of World Religious on 23rd September 1893, and this was the best thing. Okay, and if you at all you get an chance to listen to the wordings or the speech of Swami Vivekananda at Chicago meeting, it will just give you goosebumps there. Okay, please go listen to that, the speech, and his it will really motivate any Indian, and the way he spoke was an attraction to all the other religious reformers around the world. Okay, so what happened here? His speeches mirror his nationalistic ideas. Interestingly, he had visited Mysore before his visit to Chicago as a guest of Chamaraja Wadiyar X. Okay, as per the suggestions of Swami Vivekananda, Chamaraja Wadiyar X started schools for untouchable children. Vivekananda wrote books on Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga and Bhakti. I have told you that he was a person who gave a lot of importance to youth and your yoga then. Okay, and sometimes you have the mention of his other name before getting his name as what Swami Vivekananda. He was also called as Narendra. There's a lot of stories which backs up how this disciple made your Ramakrishna Paramahamsa as his favorite guru. Okay, there's an interaction between a lot of stories are there regarding Narendra there, how bold, a smart person. Okay, and he was so much liked by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa for his a lot of knowledge. Okay, now I'll come back to this further about his thoughts. Okay, he provided importance to freedom struggle, and he asserted that freedom includes social equality. There should not be discrimination rich and the poor. When you speak about Swami Vivekananda has so much thing. A young, talented person. He was not there for many of your years, otherwise it was traveled still more to our Indian society. Okay, children. Now here coming little going further down. A special thing about your Swami Vivekananda: arise, arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. Okay, this is by a young and dynamic leader who said that arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. Okay, and rest all the things what he says was, I've told you that we should take the humanity to such a place where there is no Qurans, no Vedas or the Bible. Still we need to attain this by attaining unity among all these other religious books. In our country there is no need for unity between Hindu and Muslim. A Vedic mind in Islamic body is a only path of progress. Look at the wordings, it's really very influencing to each and every of the Indian then. Okay, and the rest all the details I've explained to you in the previous slide there. Okay, let's go a little further. Coming to Annie Besant. When you come to Annie Besant, children, okay, a very important person. Okay, so it was she never, Annie Besant never started your Theosophical Society. You can see that wordings have been highlighted there. It was founded by Madam Blavatsky and Colonel H.S. Olcott in 1886 in Adyar in Madras. Okay, the main aim of this society was to do a comparative study of various religions, philosophies, and science. Okay, now what happened? Annie Besant, arrived to India in 1893 as a member of the Theosophical Society. So she was born in London in 1847, but she served in India and played a very important role in the Indian freedom struggle. Okay, she became an active member of the society in 1889 after divorcing her husband. So that's apart from that. Okay, now what happened here? Here when you speak about this Irish lady, okay, she gave a lot of impetus to the Theosophical movement. Okay, she was one who was a priest at an Anglican church and became an active member of society in 1889. She had knowledge of Vedanta philosophy. See, being born in London, look at the knowledge she had about India. She advocated that Indian culture is far more superior to the Western culture, which is based on materialism. This movement was a reformation movement of Hinduism. She also did a comparative study of Hinduism and Buddhism. And one important thing, she was called the Shweta Saraswati because translating Bhagavad Gita to English is one of the major achievements of her. So she got this title as what? Shweta Saraswati. Not only that, she wanted education for everyone. She opened schools. She started Central Hindu College at Banaras in 1898. Okay, so many things she has done for the upliftment of her education. Now, the same university, that is Central Hindu College at Banaras, became a university due to the forethought of Madan Mohan Malviya in 1916. She started two periodicals, New India and Commonwealth, to initiate discussion on the current problems and social issues. She started a Home Rule League in 1916, okay, initiated the Home Rule League movement in Madras along with Bala Gangadhar Tilak. The credit of creating religious reformation movement and a new sensibility for Hinduism is early 19th century should go definitely to this great person called Mrs. Annie Besant. She was an active member of the freedom struggle movement and was the first woman president of the Indian National Congress. Okay, this is about Annie Besant and contribution of this great lady to our Indian society. Now, next we are going to the next slide. It's about Sri Narayana Guru. Sri Narayana Guru, okay, his duration from 1855 to 1928. Okay, started the Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam in 1903. For the upliftment of the Elaba community in Kerala, means the downtrodden community in Kerala. This movement aimed at strengthening the backward and exploited communities. Now, Narayana Guru and his companions, Dr. Palpu and Kumaran Asan, led the movement. The caste difference was too much in Kerala and there were many prohibitions in that particular place. Not to go there, not to drink this water. Many prohibitions were there. During that period, all were not allowed to use facilities like tanks and roads. Water untouchability is also faced was very much prevalent even in your place called as your Kerala also there. Now what happened? They were barred from wearing footwear, so restrictions were there on the women's dress also. The communities had to live without basic human rights also. They can imagine that. So in order to address this issue, Sri Narayana Guru started Dharma Paripalana Yoga movement. What did he say? One caste, one religion, one God for the human beings was his basic idea. I am repeating the idea there. So what did our Sri Narayana Guru state there? One caste, one religion, one God for the human beings. So education was the only path to achieve this, he declared. He built temples for the backward communities as they were denied entry into the temples there. Now, Narayana Guru and his companions started Vaikam Satyagraha movement in 1924, which demanded the entry of lower caste people in the Shiva temple at Vaikam. Vaikam has a very beautiful Shiva temple. So there they were not allowed, but Sri Narayana Guru fought for that. So Gandhiji and Periyar, the architect of self-respect movement, participated in this and helped the Narayana Guru with this revolt. The Satyagraha for entry of an untouchable into Guruvayur temple was also one of the major incidents then. And all these, where now they are really enjoying, they should go to the leader called Sri Narayana Guru. Now let's go to the next slide. So now coming to our Periyar. Let's speak about Periyar, a famous personality, okay, a person to be adored in the Tamil Nadu there, and not only that, he has played a major role for our Indian society also. And here, by the beginning of 20th century, a non-Brahmin movement started in South India. Okay, the first movement started by the leader called as Periyar, and majority of non-Brahmins launched the agitations demanding representations in government sector as per their population. Now, this became a major movement in many states later. The non-Brahminical communities opposed restrictions against them, and this was possible only because of English education there. Now, the census reports published after 1870s provided a picture of the population, that's non-Brahmin, how many are there. The Justice Party started in 1916, continued the movement in Tamil Nadu. Now, the main person behind all these things was the Periyar. The non-Brahmin movement took a new shape under the Justice Party. This became more radical, means more faster, more in a reality and a practical thing. So what happened there? A self-respect movement led by E.V. Ramaswamy Nayaka became a new force. The Ramaswamy, who came out of Congress in 1925, started Self-Respect League in 1926. He was only called as Periyar. So who is this Periyar? His other name was E.V. Ramaswamy Nayaka. Okay. Now here the senior person. Out of love by the people, Periyar was born in Erode to a rich family. He believed that Congress is in favor of Varna system and started a new movement based on Dravida racial identity. Okay, he rejected the racial supremacy in the name of Aryan and a Brahmin. He said Tamil language is of your Dravidians. He opposed Sanskrit language and literature. He also rejected Rama as a Vedic leader and accepted Ravana as a Dravidian leader. Okay, and angered by a bad experience at Banaras, he converted Sanskrit, Rama and Ravana as cultural ideas and patronized Ravana. So he had a different idea. Okay, but let us say the main important thing. He championed equality and criticized caste and gender-based discrimination. He participated in the temple entry movement in 1924 at Vaikam. It was started by the previous slides I showed you, Sri Narayana Guru. Okay, joined along with them for the downtrodden to enter into your temple in Kerala. That's a Vaikam then. He became the president of Justice Party in 1939. He associated into association called the Dravida Kalagam, which is still now a part of the political thing in Tamil Nadu. He also started an English magazine called as the title is the Revolt. Even today, Periyar remains an ideological symbol in Tamil Nadu politics. Okay, this is more evident in all the political parties of Tamil Nadu retain the word Dravida with their names. So, the ideological, non-Brahminical movement started by C. Ayodhya Das Pandit and T.M. Nair was turned into a cultural movement by Periyar. His life goal was to establish an equal society where there will be no inequality based on caste, religion and gender. Okay, this is the contribution of the leader called as Periyar. Okay, children. Now I think we have come to the end of the chapter. It's a lengthy chapter, but this you should know it because there are so many people who have struggled for reforming our society. Okay, hope you will understand this presentation. Okay, thank you for watching it, children.